Today we're taking a look at the season preview for the New York Rangers. Many people feel like this could be a last dance type of scenario for this core group of players to achieve their ultimate goal of bringing a Stanley Cup to the Big Apple. Will this roster be able to get it done? We'll examine how it's changed from last year and what we think of their expectations coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we do the season preview for the New York Rangers as we work our way through teams in the Metropolitan Division. Now, in case you're new to this series, essentially how the videos are structured, we're going to do a quick recap of last year, take a look at how the team did, top individual performances, and kind of analyze where things are at, where they might have fallen short, cap space, how the team has changed roster-wise. Then we'll review that roster and look at any contract extensions that are, something that we could see throughout the campaign. And then, of course, give my thoughts and expectations on how the team is going to do. So the Rangers last year, they finished with a really good record, first in their division, 114 points, 55-23-4. They scored 282 goals, and which was sixth best. They allowed 229, which was seventh best. Power play and penalty kill, both third in the league. 26.4 on the power play, 84.5 on the PK. Lots of things to like. Very successful season. Of course, Peter Laviolette comes in and gets the job done. They had a really, really good regular season. Individually, Artemi Panarin had an awesome season, 120 points, followed up by Vinny Trocheck, number 2 in scoring at 77, Chris Kreider at 75, Adam Fox at 73, and number 5 was Mika Zibanejad at 72. Now, they've made the postseason the past 3 years, and 2 of those 3 years, they were in the conference finals. They haven't gotten over that hump to make it to the Stanley Cup final, but they were so close, and they were a team that's had a lot of success just trying to get over that last hump to try to get to Lord Stanley's Cup. So can they do it this year? Well, let's take a look at how the team has changed from last year and kind of analyze that scenario. So going into the season here, they only have $623,000 in cap space, but they can make some minor adjustments to the roster if they really need to create more space. There certainly are some options there. Looking at how this team has changed, and it's not changed a lot. The only real new members of this team is Riley Smith and Sam Carrick. They were brought in, Smith through trade. Carrick obviously is a free agent. And that is about it. Otherwise, it's largely the same players back from last year, minus a few. So the subtractions include Barclay Goodrow, who the Rangers, and Chris Drury managed to put through waivers and get picked up by the San Jose Sharks, which was a kind of a bold behind him back type of move. Goodrow was certainly didn't see it coming. I think he had wind of it that they were trying to move him, but couldn't get a trade done, and they figured out a way to get rid of the contract. So as much as I like Barclay Goodrow in the playoffs, he has not produced enough in the regular season. Off he goes through waivers and actually gets claimed. Also not returning is veteran Blake Wheeler, veteran defenseman Eric Gustafson, and deadline pickups Jack Roslovic and Alex Wenberg. Now, I'm not really sure we're really going to see any rookies have an impact on this roster this year. Brennan Hoffman would be the main prospect. I think we'll have an opportunity to try to get some games, but it's hard to see a regular roster spot for him right now. I mean, you're going to see some other younger players that have some experience that are really not theoretically rookies, like Zach Jones, for example, have more of an opportunity this year, and you hope to see some other younger players like, Will Cooley and Kako, etc., who are not rookies either, but they're still younger and need to take steps to impact things this year. Looking at players that could be due for contract extension. So these are contracts you might see. There's actually quite a few of these. I don't know how active the Rangers are going to be. I think for some of these players, I definitely want to see how things go. On the UFA side of it, the big one, Igor Shesterkin. Reports are that he's looking for, $12 million on a new 8-year deal, and we don't know at this point if it's going to get done. Reports indicate from NHL insiders that Shesterkin's camp really wants this deal done before the season starts, and if he doesn't get it, that he might shut down negotiations and wait till the end. That would put things at risk to losing him as a free agent, of course, next summer. But, of course, depending on how long their season goes, they would have some negotiating time. It's not like it would be completely lost. And really, even though if a player says, I don't want to negotiate during the season, if the Rangers come through with a phenomenal offer, you have to think the agent's going to be like, hey, like, you need to take a look at this. Like, we need to really seriously consider signing, right? So I think things can change in a heartbeat, but they're actively trying to get him taken care of. By far the biggest one, of course, is backup Jonathan Quick, also on an expiring deal. Given Quick's age, I'm not sure that they're going to rush to do that. They'll probably wait and analyze the backup goaltending scenario at the end of the year. A couple other veterans that, probably no rush to really re-sign would be Riley Smith, Chad Ruedel, Jimmy Vesey, and of course Ryan Lindgren. Of course, only got a 1-year deal this past year. Lindgren is a player that I think they definitely would like to keep, but they also want to see how his durability goes. He gets injured a lot, as much as they like what he brings. They do have some younger defensemen that are vying for more time, so we'll have to see where that goes. He's another player that will be interesting to watch. On the RFA side, they have a fair bit of those guys as well. You saw Kaapo Kakko sign a 1-year deal, so he's eligible in January. K'Andre Miller will certainly be one of the more interesting contracts to watch. You got Zach Jones, Alexis Lafreniere, another one, Will Cooley, Matt Rempe, Adam Enstrom. Like, there's a lot of these guys that I suspect the Rangers would like to see be there a long time. Like, Rempe, Cooley, Lafreniere, Miller, Jones. Like, Kakko, I think his future is uncertain, but the rest of them, it's hard to say. I think the Rangers would definitely want to see how things go before jumping into any big deals here, but you could definitely see a few of them get extended throughout the campaign. I think that's more than fair to say. So the roster going into the season, you're going to have Igor Shesterkin, Jonathan Quick as your goaltending tandem. Same as last year, should be really solid, and I don't really expect much change in that regard. On the back end, you've got Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren, Jacob Trouba, K'Andre Miller, Zach Jones, and Braden Schneider. Largely the same group. You're going to have Gustafsson come out. I think Jones has a chance to get more time. And other than that, you're not really dealing with a lot there. You've got Ruedel as well as a veteran who can, be a 6-7 guy depending on how they want to do the pairing. So at the end of the day, the blue line is not a whole lot different. Your top 4 guys are the same. And ultimately in the playoffs, especially Trouba, Miller, weren't great. I think this could be the end of Jacob Trouba with the Rangers, but we'll get into that here in a minute. The forward group's likely going to be Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Zibanejad with Kreider and Riley Smith. I think Riley Smith will be given every opportunity to be in the top 6, but I would like to see Kaapo Kakko get a chance. I don't know that he's going to cut it on the third line, which is ultimately going to maybe impact his long-term standing with the team. Third line likely could be a new version of the kid line, Hedel, Kakko, and Cooley, and Carrick with Berschinski and Vesey possibly being your fourth line. So at the end of the day, largely the same forward group with, Smith and Carrick being inserted there. So not a great deal of difference. So at the same time, they should be just as strong offensively. They should be similar defensively. The big thing here for me is we saw Lafreniere take a big step last year. What about Will Cooley and Kaapo Kakko? Like, what kind of steps are we going to see them take this year? I think this could be the end of Kakko if things do not take a good step forward. I think it could be the end of Jacob Trouba. Obviously, that contract is going to be problematic, and we know that there's a more likely to see a scenario play out where he departs after the season. So at the end of the day, this does feel kind of like a last dance for this core group. If they can't get over the hump, we've seen multiple coaches now, and we've seen this group have many shots at getting over the hump and getting a cup. And if they can't get there, something has to change. And I think Trouba would be your most likely, guy to go, with the possibility existing of Lindgren. You can take a look at, obviously, in the top 6, if Riley Smith is on an expiring deal, if things aren't working out great for him, he might not be back. Kakko might not be back. Who takes that top 6 role next year? Do they make additional changes? Like, does Lafreniere get a long-term deal? Lots of questions here. But realistically, the Rangers should be able to compete, I think, for the top 1 or 2 spots in their division. I suspect the Rangers and Devils for the division lead. Carolina, I would think, will be in the mix as well. But I think Rangers and Devils might both be a bit stronger than the Hurricanes. So we'll see how things go. But I suspect they'll be in the mix there, which will put them in another, spot to be a potential good run. But can they get it done in the playoffs? And a lot of that's hard to answer right now because we don't know what else they're going to do throughout the season, what they're going to have for injuries and all that. But to preview this season, it's largely the same group with a few tweaks, and I think they'll still be just as good in the regular season and be very strong. But let me know what you think and your expectations for the Rangers in the comments, and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.